India to net zero emission by 2070. Various initiatives like Mission Life have been launched by Honorable Prime Minister of India with the objective to nudge individual and collective measures efforts to protect the and preserve environment. And to understand further the policies and perspectives of our country, we are delighted to have Professor
building a carbon neutral pathway for Jammu and Kashmir. It was an exercise personally guided and monitored by Sir, and we could understand in depth the path of carbon neutrality at village level for achieving the targets of net zero carbon, besides building resilience to climate change at local level. In the backdrop of net zero carbon by 2050 commitments by developed countries and net zero carbon by 60 and 70 by China and India respectively, it is imperative that likely effects of climate change on different sectors be understood at local level with scientific studies based on credible data sets for future predictions of climate. This will
submitted its revised NDC. You heard about it. You all will hear more about throughout the day. And especially one of the things which Prime Minister announced was net zero by 2070. That is, we need to start now to achieve net zero by 2070, which is a huge task for a country where 70% plus of electricity comes from coal even today. So India has announced many initiatives. One, of course, is the International Solar Alliance. We all know about the progress made by that. And the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, again, it's a large initiative. We just have to wait and see how, because all infrastructure is exposed to climate risks, floods and so on. And of course, the government of India is very serious about life. Actually, they are prepared.
No, in a very plain terms, I want to talk about, and we'll have more time discussing these issues in details. So we know that Jammu and Kashmir is highly vulnerable to, and all other Indian Himalayan states are very vulnerable to climate change. There is no, aspect of human activity. There is no sector of economy that's not affected by the climate change. But the most important source, for Jammu and Kashmir is the glaciers, is the waters. And we have, significant glacier coverage over entire Indian Himalayas, and these are melting. We are losing this. I think it is very important for us that we need to speak up. We need to, educate about this at different international forums, whether it is the G20 or whether it is the COP meetings. I think you know how if you are following the COP meetings, how the loss and damage mechanism fund has come into it. I think India needs to take a lead and join the other Hindu Kashmir areas from Nepal up to the Central Asia to have a some sort of a mechanism on the basis of loss and damage. The other thing I want to talk about, I think this is a very important topic, and I feel very privileged and honored that I'm part of this deliberation that JNK is taking an initiative. I mean, our Prime Minister made a very bold international commitment.
With this releases, Jammu and Srinagar has become 5th and 6th smart cities in the country who have developed local biodiversity strategy action plans as a pride moment for us. For Jammu has become 5th city and Srinagar has become 6th city in the country. That is a pride moment for all of us. Beyond open borders and wetlands, JNK Forest Department has assessed wetlands inside forests of Kashmir on location and extent of wetlands, catchment, hydrology, wetland diversity, and services provided potential threats in the form of booklet on baseline information management and assessment strategy. I will request Chief Guest to kindly lead the compilation of useful information guidelines of forests of Kashmir prepared by JNK Forest Department. Thank you, sir. I am happy also to inform that Forest Department has taken several initiatives on ecotourism on the advice of the UT administration. The department has compiled the useful information on forest trek routes, huts and eco paths in the form of a book on ecotourism initiatives. I will request Chief Guest to kindly release a book on ecotourism initiatives. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the hard work of Sri Industry Mahmood Malik, DFO Gandhipura, and Dr. Munisa Bande, range officer for the last two publications. Thank you, sir.
Very spontaneous because I don't think I needed to prepare for this. But first thing, 2070 becoming net zero is possible and it will be done. I have absolutely no sense of any doubt that India will achieve that. 2070 is very difficult to imagine for most of us, but I think fossil fuel, time for fossil fuel as a prime source of energy is gone. And it's a matter of time when this will be replaced by other forms of energy. So I don't think that 2070, what Honorable Prime Minister has committed, is something that we will not achieve, we will definitely achieve. So on that I am not worried. We will achieve earlier, much earlier. Coming to J&K, I'll come to some very, very specific point on what Professor Ravinda said. We worked out a Panchayat Mutual Plan last year when Honorable Prime Minister was coming here. And so we wanted to set an example. And we have this goal that we will draw similar plans for every Panchayat, and then we'll add it up, and then we'll come to a district level plan, and then we'll come to a UT level plan. Now, when you look at macro and the micro, the two are not necessarily, you get the same perspective, because what entries you draw, you don't draw at the level of, not necessarily draw at the level of, let's say, at Panchayat level. It's possible that all the Panchayat energy is coming from solar, and then you probably don't need to, if all that you're using in terms of solar pumps and lighting and transport and everything you can manage with solar energy. That's doable. And if you were to do that, then probably in terms of carbon emissions, you are very well placed. Maybe not zero, but you are very well placed. Now, there's another thing which I think I'll touch upon those points. What is important for J&K, and absolutely important, is adaptation. And adaptation has to be communicated in a manner which is simple and which connects with people. And this is very fundamental. And I'll give you one example. We had started a program called 6 months, 3,600 ponds. And that was adaptation, to my mind. And then Amrit Sarovar was launched by Honorable Prime Minister last year. J&K was the first one to complete 75 Amrit Sarovars in the country, in each district. We were the first. It's become a habit with J&K to be among the leaders. So we were the leaders. And at the moment, though we are only 1% of the population, we are third in the country in terms of absolute numbers. But in terms of what we have committed, we are on the total number of commitment, we are second. But in terms of completion of the objective, we are first. We did it well ahead of the timeline that was given to us. So that should encourage you, Professor Anil. At this point of time, we do what we say, and we don't say what we do not intend to be doing. So that's a change that has happened. And very fundamentally, Amrit Sarovar is a good example of how you adapt. Bringing moisture in areas which didn't have that level of moisture, it rejuvenates that area. Very simple but very effective technique of adaptation. Har ghar haryali, har gaam haryali, one beat, one guard. All these are parts of adaptation. When we say that bring in a convergence plan at the Panchayat level every Monday, which meetings have started now, that's adaptation. Why do you need to adapt? Now, some of you might have known that some of the trees that you found at the lower heights have gone up. That's the first major sign that you see that things are changing, which you need to be worried about. Then what do you do about that? Similarly, animals which are not supposed to be coming down, if they start coming down, there is a problem that they are indicating. Now, that's something that who knows better than foresters? Now, when you communicate with the Panchayat, you don't need to communicate in terms of IPCC guidelines and then all the SAR reports and so on and so forth. So, the assessment reports are fine, those are good for scientists, but in terms of communicating at panchayat level, you need to communicate in a manner which is very simple and which connects and which can be done. I'm not worried about funding. If there is something to be done for the people, and ultimately adaptation is to be done for the people, it will be done. No popular government can afford not to do what is required for the welfare of the people it looks after. So whether it is in terms of water supply or in terms of any other matter that you looked at, extreme weather events, we're up there, right? If you look at health infrastructure, J&K today meets most of the Indian public health standards norms, and many times overdoing it, not required, but we will be there in terms of what we need to do in health infrastructure. If you look at moisture or water supply, one of the fundamental things we are doing in water supply, we will be completing Har Ghar Jal this year. This will take care of the next 50 years. And this is very fundamental. Now we wanted all the panchayats to ensure that these water sources are sustainable. Our report came day before whatever, saying that more than 20% and less than 30%, 26% if I remember correctly, water sources are dry. You do expect that to happen, right? When you're building roads, all of that is not due to climate change. All of that is definitely not due to climate change, but if you have roads coming up, you have infrastructure coming up, you disturb the water lines without knowing what you're disturbing, and then you end up with this kind of problem. But if you think well about this, you will find a way forward. Now, in terms of adaptation, we need to diversify crops and look at what crops we need going forward. This is International Year of Millet, but International Year of Millet, why? If you look at the larger perspective, this is more robust way of ensuring income to the farmers. Very simple. Rather than saying that you are undertaking adaptation, you are saying that okay, millet will give you this much income, which is more robust. Simple way of connecting it. So my request to all of you would be that we communicate climate change in a manner that people understand and people see what is to be done, and it becomes a very finite action, and that can be taken on by the government. And let me compliment Dr. Mohit here. Whatever we said last time, we have this concept of deliverables, which most of you people may not know about, and we rank people, how are they doing. This we started last year. 70% of deliverables have been achieved. And 1 year J&K has moved from laggard to first 5 in India. And today, if there is a national ranking, on most of them we are among the front runners. So it was very simple to do it. So if you want to do climate change, bank on us. And we are not going to waste too much time on this, because what climate change does, what is good for environment is good for people. It's not the other way around. I can take one example, and I think I will leave at 10:40, but I will take one example. When I was handling Service Pollution Control Board as chairman, I'll give this example for all of you to understand. Environment is not a dirty word. It's the most important word. That's something that we need to understand. And it's not contrary to your economic interest. Definitely not against the economic interest of the society. It can be against the economic interest of a profiteering body. Definitely not against the society. Now, I'll take 2 examples, and very finite examples. Pune, one factory was ruining the water body. The water body had become great, and this fellow thought that he's doing a great job by providing employment. To suck that water out and make it usable was far more costly than the product he was making and selling. He just like nothing, nobody could have imagined. It was less than 3 years. Tourism has picked up like nobody could ever imagine 2 years back. In terms of what we do, I can tell you that 1920 we completed 9,000 projects, 9,229. This year we have completed 92,000 projects, and I'm not counting Manrega. Manrega we have moved from 57,000 to 1,97,000 completed projects I'm talking about. If you can change it 10 times in a space of 3 years, there's something we can do. And so I'm leaving this thought with you, Dr. Gera, that come out with a plan for mitigation and adaptation. We can do this. Overall, We have a peak demand of 3,000 megawatts. Our plan is to get to around 10,000 megawatts. Even if you look at 30% PLF, you probably anywhere carbon neutral. And this is going to happen in less than 10 years' time. So if you look at very fundamental aspects, then it comes to the other aspects of what we manage. Professor Ravindra will say that, okay, once you impound water, then what is going to happen with the trees and all. We are planting more trees than ever before. Before we started our journey together with Dr. Gera, we used to plant 30 lakh.
This year 160.
And this year's 1 crore 60, just 5 times in the space of 3 years. So this can be done and is doable. And who does it? It's the team which is here does it. So in terms of, I'm leaving now, but I can assure you one thing. It's critically important for us to adapt. And this year deliverables, we should put in some elements of adaptation, like on this Sarovar, in a very clear term, and plantation. One more thing I would like to see before I leave. We learned a lot of things about what can be done and what science can bring to table. Whenever I tried in the last 3 years to bring science to table on the ground, it failed. And I'm saying this with some due sense of seriousness. Many people came and presented when I was in environment that this can be done, that can be done. And whenever I called them, but please do it here today, none of them delivered. And that's one of the disappointments. I will talk about this some other point of time. But we should talk about what we believe in, because this is very fundamental. But I think climate change is a real problem. Anyone who thinks that climate change is not a problem is probably doesn't understand how the climate on Earth has behaved over a period of time. We have been unusually stable in terms of climate in the last 1,000 years or so. You can't count on your luck all the time. So you better prepare. Even if fossil fuel was not there, even then climate change would have happened. It's happening faster than it should have happened. But it's time for us to prepare and let J&K become the leader in terms of producing a real model which works on the ground. It's easy to talk. COP8, you are familiar, I was fulcrum of what was in this stand. And COP18, before I came here, I was the leader of Indian delegation. That is one part of what we do. But bringing it on the ground is what is important, and it's critically more important than negotiating or writing papers. When papers work on ground, it's much better than writing a paper itself. And I'm sure that J&K provides you, Professor Ravindra, this opportunity to get it on the ground. So thank you very much. I wish you a very fruitful deliberation. I'll be extremely happy. I can tell you that I've been very happy with what Forest has done in the last 2 years that I've been here as Chief Secretary and Finance Secretary earlier. And this one department which has not let me down, and I think whatever I said, they took it as a challenge. And I compliment you, all of you. And at this workshop, that should really lead to something tangible and real. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing your vast wisdom with us.
और ये इंश्योर करेंगे कि हमें इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं हो और जो लक्ष्य दिया है ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने उसको हम पूरा करेंगे।
जम्मू कश्मीर को थोड़ा सा फ़ायदा है, हमारे इमिशंस अभी कम हैं और हमारा जो सिक्विस्ट्रेशन का पोटेंशियल काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, क्योंकि हमारा फॉरेस्ट का रकबा अच्छा है, हमारे प्राइमरी सेक्टर्स अच्छा कर रहे हैं, तो हमारा जो हॉर्टिकल्चर है और जो सॉइल कंजर्वेशन उसमें भी काफ़ी काम हो रहा है। तो यूटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से प्राइमरी सेक्टर्स को काफ़ी अटेंशन है, काफ़ी प्रायोरिटी है, तो इसलिए हमें कंपेयर टू अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री हमें काफ़ी एज है। तो ये हम आराम से जो है 2070 का टारगेट नॉट ओनली इसको हम पूरा कर सकते हैं, हम कंट्री को जो है डिस्प्रपोर्शनेटली हायर कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं इसको मीट अप करने में।